Hello, in this video we are going to be looking at an original track listing that has leaked for Notorious B.I.G's Life After Death LP, the classic double disc final album that Biggie recorded in his lifetime. A track listing has been going around on the internet, as you can see here, and from the source 92 bricks. I don't know if that's the actual there's only this one has come on as like the original source or anything like that, but just in case that's a cite the source. But anyway, it's not been verified by Bad Boy Records or anybody like that, but this track listing allegedly comes from a listening party held for the album on January 29th of 1997, so about 2 months before the album actually was released, and a month and a bit before Biggie was murdered. So this is a likely track listing, given how much is on here that does make it onto the final album, with just a few differences. Firstly, the album itself is listed as Life After Death Till Death Do Us Part as a full title. Obviously, the actual version is just called Life After Death. This version has 28 tracks listed. There's nothing signifying which is disc 1 and disc 2. It says a double LP, and that amount of tracks is going to be a double LP. But with it being 28 tracks, we can assume that's 14 on one side, 14 on the other side. There's no intro listed on here. The intro skits that opens Life After Death. I don't know if that's placed within the first song on this version, or they just didn't record it at that point. It was the last thing they decided to add to open the album with. The main thing about this track listing, though, to say is that it's clearly not been sequenced. If this was the way that they've been played at the event, if it was full songs or just sections of them or whatever, they've all been categorized together by their producers, pretty much. So like the Puff Daddy and the Hitman ones are mostly right at the beginning, and then the other outside producers kind of come later. And that's not how they fall on the album itself. But the first track that we have, Somebody's Gonna Die, which is obviously meant to be Somebody's Got to Die, produced by listed here Puffy and Nasheem Myrick of the Hitmen, which is pretty much how the production falls on the actual track. And even if it hasn't been properly sequenced, it seems that this was always going to be the opening track, which makes sense. It's a strong opening storytelling track to begin the album with. We follow that with more tracks from Puffy and Nasheem and Carlos Brody. People Bleed, My Downfall with DMC. Next, at number 4, we have Once Upon a Time, produced by Derek D. Angeletti, Ron Amen Ra Lawrence, and Puff Daddy, featuring Fat Joe. Now, obviously, Fat Joe isn't on the album. But Fat Joe himself has said that him and Biggie did record together. They were even planning to record an album together. So this could very well be a track that came from the sessions that were planned for their joint album. But either way, it's likely they did record a song that could have been in consideration for the album, but it obviously didn't make it and hasn't been found anywhere so far. Number 5, we have Hypnotize. Number 6, Fucking You Tonight with R. Kelly. Number 7, Somebody Else's Guy, featuring Little Kim, which people have speculated is supposed to be Another, which is obviously on the album, but the production for that is different. That's produced by Puffy and Stevie J, and this one is listed as D. Aman Ra and Puffy. Also, the title "Somebody Else's Guy" doesn't quite match with the lyrics of Another. So, I'm sure Biggie and Lil Kim recorded quite a few tracks. It's not unreasonable to assume that they could have recorded another song before they decided on Another, which ended up on the album. Or this is an early version of it with different production and kind of different title and lyrics or whatever. But anyway, so I wouldn't necessarily say this is definitely one that made it for the album. I think this could possibly be another track that got lost. Sky's the Limit featuring 112, followed by Clark's track 2. Clark Kent only produces Sky's the Limit on Life After Death, so we have another Clark Kent track which didn't make it to the album. You're Nobody Till, obviously You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. Mo Bounce, produced by Easy Mo B. This is clearly going back to Cali. Mo Bounce taken from the sample, the Zap sample that's used for the song. We have Moby 2 and Moby 3, so there's 3 Easy Mo B tracks in total. These were speculated to be lost tracks as well, but Easy Mo B does also produce I Love the Dough, which Jay-Z isn't listed on here anywhere, but it's been said that Jay was quite a late addition to that song, so it's easy to speculate that this was one of these tracks could have been a version of I Love the Dough recorded before Jay-Z got put onto it. So again, I think there's only one Easy Mo B track that's been lost here. We have RZA track 1 and 2. One of them is certainly Long Kiss Goodnight, and so that means there's a RZA track that's missing. Missing You, produced by KG. I Still Can't Let You, produced by Havoc featuring Lox, which is clearly supposed to be Last Day. I Still Can't Let You Pass Me, as it goes in the chorus. At number 18, we have You're Nobody, with the same producers listed as You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. So it would appear they've actually put this on here twice. So that's one major error. So in that case, it'll be 27 tracks, not 28. Nasty Girl, produced by Stevie J and Puffy. This is now where we get all the tracks by them two together. So Nasty Girl is obviously supposed to be Nasty Boy. Ironically, Nasty Girl is what it will become once it becomes part of the Biggie Duets album. Bonus track featuring Bone Thugs and Harmony, clearly Notorious Thugs. 2 tracks that seem to be lost tracks, Staying Alive and Hey Love. But Hey Love is the title of the Delphonics sample that's used for Player Hater. And as we see in some of these tracks, they are listed by their sample. The next track listed is Coming Out, featuring Mace, which is clearly More Money, More Problems. So I think Staying Alive is actually a lost track that doesn't appear to match up with anything else on the album. But Hey Love is supposed to be Player Hater. And yeah, Coming Out is More Money, More Problems. So, maybe these were versions of the songs that just had the samples, that they weren't finalised on the titles yet. Maybe they didn't have the chorus yet for More Money, More Problems and things like that. Now, Kick It In the Door by DJ Premier, which is clearly supposed to be Kick In the Door, and Premier Track 2. DJ Premier also produces 10 Crack Commandments on the album, so presumably this is 10 Crack Commandments. Buck Wild track produced by Buck Wild. Buck Wild's only production credit is I Got a Story to Tell, so that's presumably what this is. Spanish Fly, produced by Yogi of the Hitmen, who doesn't have any production credits on the album, so this doesn't appear to be a Biggie song from this album. But a few years later, on Black Rob's debut album, he has the song Spanish Fly, produced by Yogi, featuring Jennifer Lopez. So it's easy to assume that that song was actually initially recorded for Life After Death, and just got repurposed later for Black Rob, and Jennifer Lopez placed onto it. And finally, number 28, Another Man's Dealing My Time, produced by Prestige of the Hitmen, which again is not on the album. Prestige doesn't have any production credits on the album, nor does it seem to match up with anything from his production discography. So this appears to be a lost track as well. So there's only a few songs that from this didn't seem to make it onto the album. As we know from the Biggie posthumous releases, Biggie didn't have a lot of spare material lying around. But I mean, if these songs are ones that had been properly recorded and haven't been used, I'm surprised they haven't been utilised for something. If this is the case, you couldn't use this extra material instead of churn out all the other stuff over and over again. But anyway, so at 28 tracks, or 27, discounting the repeated track, it's not too dissimilar in terms of length from the actual album, which is 24 tracks in total. Say there are a few songs on the actual version that don't seem to be on here at all. The B.I.G. interlude is not listed on here at all. No skits or interludes are listed. I know that the majority of the skits are actually involved in the songs themselves, but still nothing is listed on here. What's Beef doesn't appear to be on here, nor does The World Is Filled with Too Short and Puff Daddy. But you can still see how this was quite close to the version that was going to be released 2 months later, become the version that we know and love today. So, not too different, but it's always interesting to see how albums like this developed before they became what we know them as. If anything else comes out like this, I'd certainly be very interested to have a look and discuss.